Hey guys, here we'll talk about sermons. That's exactly right, sermons. It's amazing how many different opinions there are about sermons. And let me tell you what I mean. When I came to Mountain View 10 years ago, I will tell you this: it was amazing to see just how different things were here at Mountain View than they were at Rock Springs. Been at Rock Springs for a while, came here, it's quite different. And then when I went to Rock Springs from Antioch, when God was first calling me into the ministry as such, and I went to Rock Springs and being trained there and all, it was such a big difference. And so when I came to church here, Pastor Rex, he would walk around on the floor, and I love that. I love the fact that he did that. That was awesome. I was like, man, that gives me the freedom there. When I had gone to Rock Springs, I learned a presentation, certainly from Pastor Benny, and those were things that I loved too. I loved public speaking. I loved teaching. I loved teaching. I loved connecting. But the interesting thing was, and I realized this would happen, I realized early on that there were certain things people liked. You go to certain churches because you like a pastor, whether you like it or not, that's just the way it is. You like a pastor, or you like the singing, and you can do without the pastor, things like that. And I want you to know, as I'm going forward with this, I'm talking to everyone about whether or not you should please man or whether or not you should please God. So as we move forward in this, I want you to realize that's the direction I'm going. It amazes me also that I can hear people talk about sermons, and it is wild to me. There is no rhyme or reason inside of my brain which sermons are going to touch someone and which isn't. I mean, I'm serious. I will sometimes preach one and I think, man, that was an absolute and utter failure. I mean, really, I can do that. And man, did I reach anybody, and have tons and tons of people say that, man, that word touched me. I needed that. And then have one that I thought, man, this was how had the Holy Spirit all over it, and one or two come to you and say, hey, that really touched me. And the rest, nothing really to it. There's no reaction from the people or anything like that. And that's not what it's about at all. But it's interesting to see that. Preach a sermon that God gave me the night before, and people will be like, man, that was incredible. Throw away your note sheets and just preach like that. Well, that's not how God tells me to do it most of the time. I get constant pointers from certain individuals all of the time about how to preach. Let me just say, at the end of the day, I want God pleased. I don't come into it trying to please man. Now, obviously, I'm employed. If I bore enough people, I'll send them home for sure. But at the bottom line is this, though: am I pleasing Him? I mean, obviously, is an audience of one. Did this sermon? Did it convey a biblical point that they needed today? Is that what it's about? Were they touched by something, a biblical concept? Were they touched? The Holy Spirit in it? Did I give my very best? Did I give my best, or did I not give my best? Folks, I want to tell you something. God is in the business of speaking through His men to the people He's in front of. Somebody say, well, a sermon has to be without notes. You ought not have any notes in front of you. I'll tell you, when I came here, Pastor Rex had his notes. He just memorized them all week long, and he did a fantastic job with it. If you have notes in front of you, there's 2 or 3 that says don't have notes. Then there's some that say, hey, I don't even think you should have, these notes they fill in, where other churches, that's all they've ever done. That's what I came from in multiple places. Don't have notes. Have notes. Don't do illustrations. Do illustrations. Don't do stories. Do stories. Don't have physical. Don't have props. Do have props. And all these preachers all over the nation do it different ways, and their churches are in different ways. Here's the key. All right. If you sing the way God has told you to sing. If you've preached, do it the way God's told you to do. I go to independent Baptist revivals all the time, or camp meetings all the time, and I love it, but they have a certain style about them. Go to Pentecostal meetings. They have a certain style about them. Baptist meetings, they have a certain style about them. Mountain View, certain style about them. Churches all around us, different styles. You can go to some where it's conversational, where they sit and they conversate, if that's even a word. But conversate and talk about the biblical concept, and that would bore some people to death, and other people love it. They don't want to be screamed at and things like that. It's wild. The key to this is this point. Realize that whether it's me or whether it's you or whether it's how you do the things that you do, it's not so much being stubborn and not learning. You want to do that. But ultimately, who you are pleasing is the Lord. And that's it. That's it. They may say you're not pleasing the Lord with this. No, what they're saying is you're not pleasing them with this, all right? So the key to this is make sure you're giving your all. That's first and foremost. Make sure you're giving your all for Christ. Make sure you're giving your all for Christ for the right reasons. If you're doing that, nothing else matters. No matter how you serve in your church, if you're doing the right thing, if you're doing the right thing for the right reasons, then nothing else matters. Do it for the Lord with everything you've got, and all is well. Long vitamin today. Sorry, guys. That's another thing. But you just know that God is using you, and He's using you and your personality. Remember that. See you guys.